When my brother got his big promotion, my parents gave him the house our grandfather left to me in his will, put his name on the company, and handed him the keys to my father's classic car. They didn't even tell me. I found out through an Instagram post. All I got was a text that said, "Hope you're surviving." A week before the party, they finally called, not to invite me, but to demand $900 to at least contribute something for once. When I went quiet, my father snapped, "Either pay up or stay the hell away." I still showed up. My mother pulled me aside, eyes cold, "Don't start one of your episodes. This night isn't about your failures." My father didn't even pretend to greet me. He just said loudly, "Some people peak at nothing and stay there." My brother smiled and said, "Guess they finally figured out who's worth betting on." I drank their cheap beer, looked them all in the eye, and said, "Enjoy the spotlight, it doesn't last forever." Then I left. Later, I made one quiet move that left them broke, shut down, and begging on my front step. So here's how it went. I first found out something was weird when my brother Chad's girlfriend tagged him in a "Congrats King" post on Insta. Nothing new, she's always posting his wins like she's in charge of PR or something. But this time, the background just looked off: the porch, the bricks, the old mailbox, even the way the stupid hydrangeas spilled over the walk. It was a dead ringer from my grandfather's house, the one everyone knew was mine after he died, or at least that's what I'd been told for years. I zoomed in and sent it to a buddy, "Yo, isn't that granddad's?" And he was like, "Nah, can't be. Your brother's never even mowed that yard." So I texted my mom out of nowhere, asking if she ever fixed the creaky fence gate at granddad's, just to see what she'd say. She came back with this totally random, cold reply, "Hope you're surviving." Not even an answer, just that. It wasn't even passive-aggressive, just straight up weird. Then, 3 days later, the family group chat I usually have on mute lit up. Not with a "Hey Ruben," not even a meme, just Dad posting this huge paragraph, "Tonight's a big night for our family. Proud to see Chad taking his next step. Legacy in good hands, etc., etc. Dude, since when do you even text me unless you want something?" Right after, I got a separate call from my mom, which I let go to voicemail. She left this stiff little message: "Since you don't really help out, we're asking everyone for contributions. Can you send $900 to help with the party? It'd mean a lot to your brother." Not an invite, not even a "do you want to come just give me money" like I'm some distant cousin they barely know. I didn't even reply right away. I just sat there staring at my phone, trying to piece together how nobody thought to mention any of this to me, not one person in the family, not even Chad, who I know has my number. He texted me last month about borrowing my old bike rack, never returned, obviously. So I went silent, which apparently pissed my dad off. Next thing I know, he's calling at 11 p.m. when I pick up. He's already heated, no hello, just straight to, "Either pay up or stay the hell away. Stop making things difficult. Your brother's worked hard. You could at least do something." I wasn't even sure what to say, so I just hung up. For context, this is kind of the vibe always. Chad gets the golden boy treatment, always has. He's loud, charming, always on, always hustling. Even as a kid, he'd talk circles around teachers and get away with skipping homework because he's got big ideas. Me? I'm the one who gets called moody, stubborn, too quiet, too blunt, whatever. They act like everything I do is a phase or a problem to fix. It's been like that forever, but this was a new low, not just ignoring me, but actively cutting me out, then asking me to help pay for it. So I decided, screw it, I'm going, not for them, for me. I wanted to see if they'd even look me in the eye. The party's at the house, my house, I guess. I show up wearing jeans because why try? I barely get to the porch before my mom's there blocking the door, arms folded. She pulls me aside, not even pretending to be happy to see me. "Don't start one of your episodes," she says. "This night isn't about your failures." Her voice is so quiet only I can hear, but sharp enough that I flinch inside. It's all people I barely know, my parents' church friends, Chad's old buddies, some weird mix of boomers and wannabe entrepreneurs. Nobody really says hi. My dad's standing by the kitchen holding a beer, watching Chad give this dumb little speech about new beginnings and family tradition. Dad looks over at me, makes a show of it, and just says, "Some people peak at nothing and stay there." People laugh, not even subtle. I'm standing there with a warm can of beer, trying not to lose it. Then Chad comes up, grinning all teeth. "Guess they finally figured out who's worth betting on," he says, clapping me on the back a little too hard. I just look at them, all of them. Nobody says anything. Nobody stands up for me. It's like I don't even exist. So I say, "Enjoy the spotlight, it doesn't last forever." Not loud, just enough, and I leave. As I'm walking out, I hear my dad slam the door behind me. Not a single person follows. I get in my car and just sit there, not really sure what to do. I check my phone, 2 unread messages from my mom, both short, both cold, no apology, just "Hope you're surviving." I don't respond, but I start thinking about the way everyone just went along with it like it was normal, about the house, about what Granddad actually wrote in his will. I remember him saying, "You'll know when the time comes, Ruben. You're the only one who ever listened." I realize maybe I don't have to just sit here and take it, maybe I can actually do something. So I start making a list, not what I'm owed, but what I'm going to take back. That's when things actually get interesting, TBH. If anyone's still reading, yeah, there's more, and it gets a lot messier before it gets better. NGL, I sort of hope Chad reads this. He'll know what's coming. Alright, so here's the update nobody in my life even asked for, but honestly, I got to get this out because the more I looked into it, the weirder and dumber it got. Father, if you read the first post, you know my family's been on their Ruben is a problem. Chad is the future BS forever, but even for them, this was on another level. The day after that party, if you want to call it that, I woke up on my couch, clothes still on, phone blowing up with dumb notifications from the family group chat, not even about me, of course. Just a pic of Chad holding up the keys to his new house, dad tagging him and saying, "You make us proud, son." Like, am I invisible? Deadass, did they think I wouldn't see this? I let it ride for a couple days, played dumb, didn't reply, just watched how everyone acted like nothing happened. But I started poking around because the whole thing made zero sense, not even in a they hate me way, just the logistics. How did Chad even get the house? Did granddad not leave a will? Did my parents just decide they could do what they wanted? It started bugging me so much that I actually went into my old files box under my bed, not kidding, to see if I still had that copy of granddad's will he gave me the year before he died. And yeah, I found it, just a basic scan, but all neat and signed, with my name in black and white, the house, address and all, to Ruben. Nothing about Chad, nothing about shared, nothing about at our discretion, literally just my name. I sent a pic to my friend Emery, she's the only one in my circle who's seen my family up close, who knows what they're like. She just said, "You need to look at the title, not the will." So I started Googling like a maniac. I didn't want to ask my parents because, 1, they'd lie, 2, they'd spin it as you're overreacting, 3, I didn't need another lecture about how I never contribute. So I went online, found the county assessor's site, plugged in the address, and saw something that made me laugh out loud. The house was still listed under my grandfather's name, not Chad, not my parents, just sitting there in probate limbo, like they'd forgotten to even do the paperwork. Update 2. When my brother got his big promotion, my parents gave him the house our grandfather left to me in his will, put his name on the company, and handed him the keys to my father's classic car. They didn't even tell me. I found out through an Instagram post. All I got was a text that said, "Hope you're surviving." A week before the party, they finally called, not to invite me, but to demand $900 to at least contribute something for once. When I went quiet, my father snapped, "Either pay up or stay the hell away." I started piecing it together. Granddad dies, leaves house to me. My parents tell everyone it's for the family but never actually transfer title. Then, years later, they throw a party for Chad, act like he's the owner, but the legal side is still a mess. I texted Emery again, "Is this normal?" She said, "Not even a little." She told me to check for any transfer deeds or filings, so I drove to the damn county courthouse, actually got in my car, parked in the stupid pay lot, waited in line, the whole thing. Not a single person there smiled at me. I went up to the records desk, asked for anything on the property since Granddad died. The woman behind the glass gave me a look like I was wasting her time, but she printed out a stack anyway. I took it to the little table by the window, started flipping through, and yeah, it's all there, so many missteps, nothing with my signature. There's this affidavit from my dad swearing all heirs have consented to closing the estate, which is a joke because nobody asked me, and I was living in a different city at the time. They even sold the house to Chad for like a tenth of what it's worth, but the title was never actually transferred out of probate. It was like watching a bad movie about a family who thinks they're smarter than everyone else. The best part? The classic car, the one Chad was showing off at the party, was still listed as property of the estate, never retitled. Technically, it wasn't even his to drive. I had to laugh, honestly. After all that, I took a beat, sat in my car, just breathing through the weirdness. Not angry, not sad, just plotting, I guess. I texted my mom to see what she'd say. "Hey, did anyone ever actually file probate stuff for Granddad's house?" She replied, "Don't worry about it. Everything is handled. You should be happy for your brother." Like that's a normal response. I didn't reply. I spent a couple days just gathering everything. Screenshots, emails, the will, the deeds, even copies of texts from my parents over the years promising I'd get what's owed. I even found an old email from my dad talking about getting the paperwork in order for the house back when Chad was still pretending not to care about any of it. I showed all this to Emery. She's not a lawyer or anything, but she's got common sense, and she told me straight up, "You have to do something, or they'll just keep walking all over you." That was all I needed to hear. So I started making calls, not to big firms or anything, just Googling for someone local who actually picks up the phone. Found this guy Malachi, older, quiet, kind of gruff, but he knew his stuff. I sent him everything. He called me back 2 days later. "Yeah, you have a case, big time," said he'd seen this before, families thinking they can just handle it themselves and cut people out. I asked what it would take. He said, "Patience." So I got him everything I had. Meanwhile, my family kept acting like nothing was wrong. Chad posted a story of himself in his new office, standing by the classic car, talking about family legacy. My mom sent a group text about being proud to see our boys succeed together like I wasn't even in the picture. Nobody mentioned my silence or that I hadn't sent a dime for the party. I think they thought I'd just go away, but honestly, I was done being quiet. I spent a weekend printing out every single document, putting them in a binder with color-coded tabs and all. I even labeled the sections, just to be petty. I started checking the business filings too, because I kept hearing that Chad was expanding and investing in the future. Sure enough, I found out there's a loan listed against the house address. He's using the property as collateral, and it's not even his. That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about family drama or old grudges. They needed the house to keep the whole thing afloat. I made a call to Malachi, told him everything I'd found. He just said, "Good work. Let's get started." Then he asked if I wanted to go nuclear or play nice. I told him, I want them to feel it, every single inch. The next week, I didn't say a word to anyone in the family. I let Chad keep posting, let my parents keep bragging, let everyone keep pretending like I wasn't even alive. But inside, I was already moving pieces. Malachi filed the first papers, petition to reopen probate, notice of disputed assets, the whole deal. I didn't tell anyone, I just waited. The only weird part was the silence. My mom, who calls about dumb stuff all the time, suddenly stopped texting. Dad didn't send his usual passive-aggressive reminders for family dinners. Chad didn't even try to gloat. I guess they figured I was sulking, or maybe they thought they'd finally broken me. But what they didn't know is I was just getting started. The last thing I did before shutting my phone off for the night was send Emery a pic of the binder, just the cover. Her reply, hit them where it hurts. I plan to. And yeah, it's about to get very real for them. So it's wild how fast people's energy changes when you stop rolling over. I was expecting the silent treatment or maybe some weak apology texts. What I got instead was a total 180, but only after I made my move. The shift started small. Chad's posts suddenly went from family legacy humblebrags to just him and his buddies at bars again, nothing about the house, nothing about the car. It was almost funny, like he was hiding. But honestly, I figured they were just busy with their own drama. Then I started getting weird calls, unknown numbers, no voicemail. Then my old man tried calling late at night, which never happens unless he's in trouble or wants to dump something. I ignored them all, let it pile up. Figured it was just nerves, maybe they'd finally looked at their mail and saw the legal stuff Malachi sent. I told him to send everything certified, signature required. Yeah, felt a little petty, but after what they pulled, tell me I'm wrong. It didn't take long for the real fallout to start. I get a text from Emery, did you see the county notice about your granddad's house? Apparently, she'd heard from a neighbor who was all weirded out that a legal dispute was now attached to the property, like a giant red flag for anyone thinking about buying or renting. I checked the county portal, and sure enough, there it was, lease pendens. Property tied up, can't be sold or borrowed against. I didn't even have to lift a finger after Malachi filed it, but damn, if it didn't feel good to see. The next week, I get a knock at my door, not my parents, but one of their business friends, trying to look casual, asking if I could clear up some confusion about the house title. I just shrugged, said it was all in the paperwork, and shut the door. Dude looked pissed but didn't press it. He actually tried to stick his foot in the door, not kidding, so I just leaned into it and closed it harder. He stepped back quick. Meanwhile, Chad starts blowing up my phone all of a sudden, calling like we're besties, saying stuff like, let's talk it out, man. You don't got to be like this. I didn't answer. I get a group message from my mom, all soft tone, can we please come together as a family and resolve this privately? I left it on read. I was done with private, done with backroom deals and let's just smooth it over. They wanted polite? They should have thought of that before they tried to gut me out of my own inheritance. I guess what stung the most for them was how public it all became, but that's what happens when you try to build your whole life on something you don't even own. Within a month, Chad's business, I use the term so loosely it's laughable, started to wobble. I heard from a friend of a friend who does loans in the area that the house being locked up meant his credit line got frozen, so all those plans to expand got yeeted. I'm not even in the group chats, but the rumors get around, vendors pulling out, people asking if they're going to get paid, you name it. My dad, of course, tries to go the angry grandpa route, shows up unannounced at my place, pounds on the door, yells through the screen, says I'm tearing the family apart, all that classic stuff. I just stand there, arms crossed, don't say a thing. Eventually, he gets so mad he tries to shove past me. I put my hand out, block him, tell him he's not coming in. He actually tries to slap my hand away, but I don't budge. He calls me ungrateful, says I'm nothing without the family, then storms back to his car and slams the door so hard the window rattles. Neighbors definitely saw. Final update. When my brother got his big promotion, my parents gave him the house our grandfather left to me in his will, put his name on the company, and handed him the keys to my father's classic car. They didn't even tell me. I found out through an Instagram post. All I got was a text that said, hope you're surviving. A week before the party, they finally called, not to invite me, but to demand $900 to at least contribute something for once. When I went quiet, my father snapped, either pay up or stay the hell away. After that, things got desperate. Mom starts sending these long, guilt-trippy texts talking about how hard things are, how Chad needs support, how I could fix this if I just be reasonable. It was almost impressive how fast she could pivot from ignoring me for months to begging for unity. I replied once, you made your choice. You live with it. Meanwhile, Malachi was a machine. He kept me updated every week, telling me what filings were in, what responses, if any, they'd sent. Apparently, my parents tried to file some nonsense paperwork to reverse things, but it all fell apart because their own signatures contradicted stuff from years ago. Their attorney, yeah, they finally scraped one together, tried to threaten us with public embarrassment, but Malachi just laughed and said, bring it on. I respect that so much. The real kicker was the rent thing. Since they'd had Chad living in the property, my property, Endel, for years, Malek said I was entitled to mezzanine profits, aka back rent for the entire time he was playing king in my castle. When that letter hit their mailbox, my phone nearly exploded. My mom called, Chad called, my dad texted me this wall of pure rage, all caps, accusing me of destroying everything they built. I didn't answer. Why would I? The best worst moment was when Chad actually tried to corner me at the grocery store. Believe it or not, I was picking up stuff for dinner, earbuds in, and he just comes up all fake chill, starts ranting about how I'm ruining his life, how I'm jealous, how granddad wouldn't want this. I told him, you want to talk legal, you talk to my lawyer. He actually shoved my shoulder right in the middle of the store, not hard, but enough for people to look. I didn't back down. I told him, you lay a hand on me again and I'll file another suit. He stormed off, muttering, and left his basket in the middle of the aisle. Since then, it's been radio silence from most of them. The house is stuck, the car is stuck, the business is stuck, and they're hemorrhaging cash just trying to keep it all from collapsing. I know for a fact they tried to get another loan and got denied. The bank called me for verification, and I just sent them the dispute case number. That was the end of that. I've been called every name in the book, but the thing is, I don't care. I didn't go looking for this. They made me the villain, so now I'm wearing the mask. I know some people are going to say, but family, but forgiveness, but closure. Save it. You don't know what it's like to be treated like a spare part your whole life, then have them ask for money for the privilege. Next up? I'm not stopping until every cent is back where it belongs. They wanted to play games, now they get to see what happens when I stop playing nice. And trust me, they're not going to like the next final update. So I knew things were getting serious when the group chat suddenly went dead for like 2 weeks straight. No family dinner Sunday, no memes from my mom, not even a can you check on grandma, guess that's back on me now. Just radio silence, which, TBH, was its own kind of weird after months of guilt tripping. I figured maybe they'd finally gotten the message, or maybe they were just busy scrambling now that their whole legacy thing was unraveling. Either way, I wasn't about to reach out and play nice. It wasn't until Saturday morning when I hear someone actually pounding on my door, like full cop knock, not even a text first. I look through the peephole, and it's my dad, looking about 10 years older than when he was holding court at Chad's party. My mom's there too, sunglasses on, standing stiff like she's waiting for bad news at the DMV. And Chad, of course, standing behind them, arms crossed and jaw twitching like he's chewing glass. I'll be honest, I almost didn't open the door, but I figured, nah, let's get this over with. So I open up, block the entrance with my body, and just wait. They all kind of try to talk at once, my mom going straight to pleading, Chad jumping in with what sounds like a threat but gets cut off by my dad, who finally just says, you win. Okay, you win. They're not there to apologize, they're there because Malachi's last letter finally landed, final notice, time to pay up or the court's coming for everything. Plus, the bank called their bluff and froze Chad's line of credit, the car is officially off the insurance because it's not legally his, their business friend bailed when the house got flagged as disputed property. It's like dominoes falling, and now they're desperate. My mom tries to push past me into the apartment, actually tries to grab my arm. I pull away. She snaps at me not to cause a scene. Chad tells me I'm being a baby, that I should just take the money and let them move on. My dad just stands there, arms shaking, staring at the floor. So I tell them flat out, I want the house. I want the car. I want back rent for every single month Chad lived there like he owned the place. And I want it in writing, with every signature, today. Either that or I keep dragging this through court, and they can explain to everyone why they lost everything over some episode I apparently started. I say it in the quietest voice I've used in months. My dad actually tries to argue. He gets loud, starts blaming me for tearing the family apart, starts listing everything he's done for me, like the time he lent me money for books in college. I paid that back, but whatever. He puts his hand on my shoulder, squeezes, not gentle, and when I shrug him off, he shoves me back a step. Chad moves like he's about to get involved, but I just stare him down, and he doesn't do anything. My mom's crying by now, real loud, but I don't move. I tell them again, this is your only shot. You sign or you get nothing. And yeah, there's a real moment where it looks like my dad's going to just walk, he's shaking, but I hold the line. Finally, he says, fine, we'll sign. But you'll regret this. I hand them the paperwork Malachi sent me, already filled out. I make them sign right there in the hallway. Chad tries to argue about the car, says he put work into it, but I just say, doesn't matter. It was never yours. He slams his fist into the doorframe, hard enough to leave a mark, then storms off to the car. My mom's hand is shaking so bad she nearly drops the pen, but she signs too. My dad signs last, throws the pen at my feet, and says, I'll never be part of this family again. I tell him, that's fine by me. So that's it. I got the house, I got the car. Malik filed the final paperwork, and the bank sent me the check for the back rent, minus his cut, which I paid gladly. Chad's business is dead in the water without the property to back it. My parents are selling their place to pay off what they owe. And I haven't heard a word from any of them since. The group chat is still dead, I left it on mute. I know some people will say I took it too far, but honestly, I did what I had to. You can only get slapped in the face so many times before you start hitting back. They wanted me gone, now they know what it actually feels like to lose. I'm not proud, but I'm not sorry either. I guess this is the part where I'm supposed to say I found closure or whatever, but nah. I got what was mine, and I'm not looking back. If you got family that tries to play you, don't let them. Receipts win every time. And if you're reading this, Chad, enjoy the bus rides. That's all I got.